everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We have a lot of news to get into today as usual, so make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris?
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
What's up, everybody? It's Jackie Ray here. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
So me and Jackie clearly already look like Christmas over here, but I am Britt Johnson. You guys can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson. It is the first day of fall. It is voter registration day. And what day else is it, Jackie? What is today? It's Taco Tuesday.
Great job, you guys. I had tacos for dinner last night.
So.
Yep.
Yesterday?
Say
cool.
it again?
Okay. Also, I just want to point out I'm wearing green too, you guys. So.
Oh, you are.
We're all red and green.
Chris, yes, what happened to you?
Not me. Didn't get the memo.
Green, and then we got the Christmas. I saw Christmas decorations yesterday, you guys. Like, I went to Hobby Lobby. Christmas just grew up all over the place. I was like, we haven't even hit fall yet, but today here we are. Christmas is here.
Yep. Halloween comes first, so I'm wearing black. That's all I got. That's my excuse.
Okay, that works. I like it.
Excuse. Okay, you guys, before we dive into the news, I do just want to give Britt her moment to gloat. So Adam Schefter reported on Monday that NFL head coaches from Denver, Seattle, and San Francisco were all fined $100,000 each for not wearing masks on Sunday. And then beyond that, each of their respective teams have been fined another $250,000 for a total of $1.05 million in fines for not wearing masks. So Britt, you were saying that the coaches need to be fined in the same way that athletes are. So here's your moment. Anything that you would like to add?
Y'all should have listened to me. I warned y'all last week, and then here we go. Because they didn't get fined from week 1. They got fined from this week. So 2 weeks in a row. Come on, you guys. Get it together. And especially Pete Carroll, you're the oldest coach in the league. We want to protect you. Be safe, my guy. Wear a mask.
I would imagine, though, it's really hard to chew gum as much as he does with the mask on. Like, you would get, like,
they will automatically sliding down, right? That is funny.
That is so hilarious. Such a good point, Jackie. All right, you guys, so let's jump into our first need-to-know news story. Honestly, this one I feel like should have gone in What We Not Gon Do, but we're going to talk about it here. So after the UFC Vegas 11 fight, Colby Covington sat down for media interviews, and I think he was feeling, I don't know, some sort of adrenaline rush because he had just won, because he started to go in on woke athletes and called out LeBron James by name. He started off his little rant by dedicating his fight to first responders in the military, and then he segued into trashing LeBron. I have a clip that I'm going to play for you here. So Leo, can you throw that up there for us?
I want to dedicate this fight to all the first responders, all the military out there. You know, this world would not be safe without you guys. You know, you keep us safe, and you know, not these woke athletes, man. I'm sick of these woke athletes and these spineless cowards like LeBron James.
Spineless cowards.
When did athletes get a K in it? He said athlete. When did they start spelling athletes with a K?
He just fought. His brain's coming back. He's regenerating.
I know, you can tell that he was in a fight because a lot of what he said he couldn't really get out for. So first of all, I don't know how fighting for equality and justice makes anyone a coward, but we can talk about that later. LeBron actually ended up having a word for his critics and his haters, so I'm going to play that clip for you right now. Leo, can you throw it up there?
Anybody can talk from outside, but if they got into the ring or they got into the arena, probably 10 times out of 10, they shit the pants.
Yes, and then I think that ticked off Colby a little more because he tweeted, LOL at the snowflakes that believe King James could even last 10 seconds with me. If that coward had the balls or the ability to kick anyone's ass, Delonte West would have lost his teeth long before his meth habit. the whole thing
Oh
is
God,
pretty bizarre. Yeah,
that is
thing,
unnecessary.
I know. He was really heated. He was very heated by that remark. And I don't really understand why he decided to zero in on LeBron in the first place, but luckily LeBron had some other athletes come to his defense. KD commented, "Who's this again?" While Michael Carter Williams said, "Weird how no one tells him to stick to fighting." Austin Rivers commented, "Why though?" And obviously, we all appreciate the attention that LeBron is giving to social justice issues. I love that he has such a loud voice, and I really respect that. And I know a lot of people do, including you guys, my co-hosts. So Jackie, obviously I have to go to you first because this is about your guy LeBron. What would you like to say back to Colby if you could talk to him?
That he need to be happy he won, because I don't know if you guys he should have stuck to that. Because I don't know if you guys actually watch UFC and all that, but that's my weekend thing. That's my Saturday thing. We always invite a bunch of people over, and that's my Saturday thing. So I actually lost money on this fight specifically because Tyler Woodley had won 7 fights before this, so this was a no-brainer to me. So when he won, I was surprised. I was like, okay, shouts out to him. It wasn't like a big fight that everybody truly cared about, but I lost money on it, so it was a big deal to me. So I saw this post-game thing. I just thought he was knockout drunk. You know what I mean? I just thought he was just been hitting the head one too many times, and he was just being stupid, or maybe it was just the adrenaline. I didn't expect him to double down on it, but I'm not surprised at this at all. I think you guys know me well enough to know that for me, it's just somewhat expected. I did see something on Fox Soul that kind of resonated with me. That's kind of unrelated, but related at the same time. I don't know if you guys remember the rapper Eve, but she's married to a white guy now. And so she talks about how it's sometimes unnerving to her, but obviously she loves this man, how disconnected he is from everything Black. He has no idea how it feels to have these kind of confrontations with police. And when she's describing it to him, there's a part of him that's in like disbelief. It almost sounds like it's some sort of movie. Like this only happens in the movies. It doesn't happen in real life. So I think when you're able to have that kind of disconnect, then you can call other people cowards, because maybe he's called 911 a couple of times, and 911, saved. Same thing with what's his name, Lil Wayne. He said some moronic comments in the past, because he's like, 911, I called them, they saved my life. A lot of us don't have those experiences, so I think it's just based on your experiences. But to your point, I agree. I don't know why Black athletes are always told to stick to sports. But when this guy who's also wearing a flag in a disrespectful way, as Britt so pointed out several times before, this is a sign of disrespect in the way that he's wearing the flag. Then he's all of a sudden this great guy, and he's like, yeah, that's patriotic and this and that. But equality is patriotic. So I don't understand why when a white athlete takes this position, it should be, right? So I don't know why when a white athlete takes this position, showing a blatant sign of disrespect that people can willingly overlook, that he's exalted. But when a Black athlete says, hey, equality should be a thing, then they're these fake woke athletes who all of a sudden I need to get in a ring with and beat his ass just to prove that I'm not a coward. I don't understand it at all. I think he could have handled that moment a little bit differently, because nobody expected him to win that fight. So I think he used his platform at that moment completely inappropriately, and I think it's shameful that no one's calling him out on that, but everyone calls Black athletes for using their platforms to push forward towards change. So I don't really I wouldn't say anything to him, because he said athlete with a K, so I don't think he would understand me anyway.
Well, at least we're here to call him out. I applaud us for having the ability to tell him that he's in the wrong here, and that, like you said, Jackie, he used his moment in the limelight to spread just a ridiculous message. Britt, I want to ask you, why do you think he specifically went after LeBron James when there are many athletes who are actively speaking out against police brutality and racism?
2 words: clout chaser. He knows LeBron is the biggest, brightest spotlight in sports right now. So of course he's going to call out LeBron James. And we know Kenny Stills is on the ground every day. Kenny Stills was arrested for protesting. Why don't you call out a guy like that who's right now doing stuff? LeBron is in the bubble playing basketball, and he speaks about stuff whenever he can. But there are guys that are literally actually protesting right now. Call them out. Say something about them. Oh, no, it's because you're clout chasing. That's why you said LeBron James specifically. That's all I have to say about that. Everybody knows that's why he said LeBron James, is because he wanted his name to be out there, which is why Kevin Durant said, who is this? Like, he didn't even know who he was.
Mhm.
But we're all talking about it right now because he said something about LeBron James.
Yep. And Chris, that kind of leads me into my question for you. Do you think that he made these controversial statements as more of a PR stunt, or do you think he legitimately feels LeBron is a spineless coward?
I think a bit of both. He seems like he's one of those guys that he feels how he feels, but I 100% side with Britt on this one for sure. Like I think he does feel how he feels about it, but at the same time, he's using this for sure to push out his agenda and push out, because he just got to win. So now it's his opportunity. People are sort of kind of listening to him if you know who he is. Keyword, if you know who he is. And he's going to use that to use a guy like LeBron James, because everyone knows who LeBron James is. And now we're seeing Kobe wants to fight LeBron James and turning it into a completely different thing. And no, the 100% he was going for the clout for sure. But I do believe that there is definitely something underlying there as well. So I'm not going to let that slide either.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we got to get into the second news story really quickly here. We're running out of time. So KD said that he thinks the NBA needs to make changes as to how they select the MVP winner. So obviously MVP doesn't account for what happens in the postseason. But a lot of people were kind of like wondering why Giannis was selected MVP when the Bucks had kind of an early elimination. KD thinks that the award should have gone to LeBron, and he thinks that voters should value playoff performance as much as they do regular season consistency. He said, quote, "I think that they should evaluate the whole season, playoffs included. If you include the playoffs, LeBron is easily the MVP, but I see why with the rules now, why Giannis was the MVP. His numbers were crazy." So Chris, do you agree with KD's perspective?
I mean, yes and no. I still don't feel like that is the full problem. I stand by what I said the other day by just not being a fan of who it is that are making the votes. But I would be cool with this too, in a sense, because we talk about all the time the NBA award show is after the entire season, after everything, and then we're talking about Giannis being the MVP after watching a great series by LeBron James or by James Harden in the playoffs and stuff like that. And it's hard to have to rewind your brain, being like, oh yeah, that's right, during the season they were doing this and that. So I do kind of agree with KD, but I feel like the bigger issue at hand is still, I'm not a big fan of who's voting, because again, narratives is still gonna play a big part regardless if they add playoffs or not.
And Britt, sorry, not Chris. Britt, would it be smart for the NBA to change the way they handle selecting NBA MVP?
As far as maybe who does the voting, but KD, my guy, if these rules were put in place, you wouldn't have an NBA MVP award.
Exactly.
Your team has done nothing this season. Stop it! Stop it! My guy. My guy.
Yep.
Stop
Unless he's admitting that he shouldn't have one. I mean, if he's admitting that, unless he's admitting that he shouldn't have one.
He doesn't deserve one? Yeah. He has
to.
When his team did not do very well. The whole point of it not being during playoffs is because we're supposed to be, and they're supposed to be picking based off of just whoever's the best in the league, not who's the best team with a championship team kind of thing. But obviously, some years it goes like that. Some years it doesn't. Obviously, when Kevin Durant was voted NBA MVP, it was not. When Russell Westbrook was voted MVP, it was not like that. So, I feel like you take away that option of oh, well, gosh, this guy's so good, but his team didn't win the NBA finals, so we can't pick him. I just don't think that should be this situation. And that's why we have an NBA Finals MVP. Whoever gets that's a coveted award in and of itself. So I think maybe just the difference in voting, who is allowed to vote, maybe just open it, have different kinds of things with voting and stuff like that. You can still have a media category, but do maybe some other categories and stuff like that where coaches and players also get, and it's a weighted kind of situation, stuff like that. And I think it's a lot better. But yeah, as far as after the postseason, I just don't agree with that, because a lot of people that we know that have awards right now would never have won that award if that was the case.
Yeah, that's actually something that I was thinking too, that including players, coaches, people who are like there and working with these players should have an opportunity to cast a vote as well. So I think that's a great idea. Jackie, is there anything else that you would change about the way MVP is selected, and how do you feel about KD's statements?
No, I agree with both Chris and Britt. Like there is in finals MVP, you know, that's a thing for a reason. I get what KD is saying though, because sometimes you look at it, there are players like LeBron that we always see a different LeBron in the playoffs than we see in the regular season. And that who we see in the playoffs isn't included in that conversation. So I definitely get what he's saying. And I would not be opposed to a full season MVP. You know, let's look at the totality of the season versus just regular season. So I get what he's saying, but you know, like Britt said, then is he okay, you know, with understanding that if we did do that, we wouldn't be having him in these conversations, number one. And number two, I can't take it seriously anymore because we had that one journalist, we talked about it here on the show, where she said she's going to vote for LeBron, but her reasons for voting for LeBron had nothing to do with actually basketball. You know what I mean? So, and let them not give me a vote. If I could sneak in 5 more votes, I would just vote for LeBron. You know what I mean? So it has to be some sort of clearly, I think. Look, tell the truth, right? So it's just one of those things when you're talking about media, we've talked about this. If somebody doesn't give me the interview I want, or if they're short with me, or I don't get access to them the way that I want, that's going to affect my vote. So I think that other players would probably appreciate getting that award from their peers anyway, because they know what it means to have your other peers look at you and give you that level of respect. So I think it would mean a little bit more. So I'm definitely on that train with Chris that I think they need to change who is voting versus the way it's voted on.
And I like the way the system that they're talking about too.
Would you be opposed to something like with the Pro Bowl where it's selected by fans, it's selected by media, and it's selected by players? Like, you know how everybody gets like basically to vote in that situation? Same with like All-Star and stuff like that. Like, what if they did the voting like that? Like, where it's like
I'm not opposed to that.
100%. No, I think that's how it should be. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, excluding the fan part when it comes to MVP voting, like, don't give it to us. But you know what I mean? Everything else, I agree.
I'm going to create fake accounts. I'm going to have 10,000 fake accounts, and I am going in.
We're going to be seeing Zaza Pachulia's situation all over again. Yeah.
All right, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, you guys will all be pulling a KD and making those burner accounts then. You guys, we need to wrap up Need to Know News. So, Chris, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Post Up with your boy Chris, quarantine and semi-clear edition. And yeah, no, if you don't put that in the hands of the fans, because we're going to be seeing too many. Zaza Pachulia, remember, he was almost an all-star because of the fans. So I don't know if I want the fans joining for MVP. But let's talk about football. I forgot that was this year. Oh my gosh, yeah, Alex Cruz was almost a all-star. Anyways, I want to talk about football, and you know, this chat, I've had some beef with the chat from the jump because people come in there and talking about, Chris, you was talking all that mess yesterday. Saints lose. Yeah, the Saints lost. Okay, but I also said yesterday I would not be surprised if the Saints lose because I know my football team. Drew Brees. I get it, man. You got to warm up the shoulder, but my man, like, at least attempt 1 over 20 yards. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Right.
But regardless, though, we do have to talk about the other side, because not only did the Raiders confirm to me that they do, or somebody in the Raiders organization watches this show, they showed me that they do watch the show because of the way they played extra hard against the Saints. And then on top of that, after I saw Zay Jones' celebration, I was like, for sure. They watched the damn Fumble Squad live. And there's no way in my mind they don't, because Zay Jones scored a touchdown. Look at them. You kidding me with this? Look at them. Right to it. Hey, come back. All right, here we go. All right. I saw it on an internet show. Okay, we did it. Hey! Now, see, I'm done with them. The loss hurt, but then this hurt even more. I'm so upset with that game. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to the Rays. I told you it's gonna be some kind of magic. It's their first game of their new stadium. All that kind of stuff was against us. The referees had a swell time doing what the referees do. It was a fun game, but I'm not gonna talk about that because we are 1-1, and I'm gonna leave it at that. On to the next, though. As you guys can see by the thumbnail, there has been a bit of a splash in the NASCAR world. Now, I won't say a few. It was about a week and some change ago. Bubba Wallace had come out with a statement saying that he was going to be leaving his current team and he was going to be looking for another team to be racing with. And looking at that, I was like, maybe it has to do because he got a new fan base and more people are following him, so he's probably going to go to a bigger team. I don't know. It was just a little bit confusing. Again, I'm new to this whole NASCAR thing, so I didn't really know what that totally meant, but. We got our answer yesterday because Michael Jordan, yes, that Michael Jordan and a racer, Danny Hamlin, came together and they made a new racing team, and they brought in as their first racer as Bubba Wallace. So congratulations to Bubba Wallace on that. They released, or Danny released this tweet right here announcing the news, saying that they're excited and that they're going to be bringing in Bubba Wallace. Him and MJ are going to be joining this week. I mean, you can't really see him, but MJ in there, he cropped out a little bit in the picture, but MJ is definitely in the picture. With a little smile, but yeah, cool moment. Yeah, I know, right? Just cut him right out. Danny looking like the star. Anyways, but Bubba did respond to this, and I want to read his tweet in response to him being picked up as the first racer for that team. He said, "This is a unique, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I believe is a great fit for me at this point in my career. I'm grateful and humbled that they believe in me, and I'm super pumped to begin this adventure with them. BW." And I think that's dope. We all jumped on the Bubba Wallace train a little bit late, but I'm looking forward to seeing what it does. Michael Jordan seeming like he wants to dip his toe into everything as of late, and now he's dipping into NASCAR after some of the cool moves that NASCAR has done in their. I want to say okay, I'll give them credit and them being supportive of the social justice movement. I'll use that. That's the phrase I'll use. But yeah, cool move. Yeah, so enough with that. But anyways, we're gonna go back to basketball because we got some beef. I've seen the videos because, Knicks Cantor, I still see the videos on my timeline from time to time because Knicks fans love to keep tabs on players that once played for the team and burned them. And Knicks Cantor is always on my timeline for whatever reason. And I saw him and Marcus Smart just beefing in an initial video. And it was funny. Obviously, it was jokes, just dudes being dudes, but it was a funny video. And then we had a follow-up this time where they were wrestling to see who can get the other one into the pool first. And it gets real. And I'm here thinking, like, in this team in the Eastern Conference Finals right now, y'all need to be careful. Like, if I'm a coach, I'm Brad Stevens looking at this, or Danny Ainge, I'm shutting this down immediately. But yeah, they got into a real close fight to see who can push who into the pool. And to be honest, the winner didn't surprise me at all. I'm curious to hear what you guys will say about the winner. But here's that video. You too damn big to be that weak in this. Come on, man.
Your wrestling career.
I ain't the one.
Come on, then.
I ain't the one.
And that should be life for you. That should be life.
Wait for it. Like, you try to trip him. This is what I'm talking about, man. Y'all the same team.
This shit is dumb. Like, this is why I didn't do what I did on the dude. This is
like I said.
You cheated.
So, like I said, results did not surprise me at all. Some might say David versus Goliath, but no. If you watch Marcus Smart is out there on the basketball court guarding centers like it's no problem. So for him to push his own center, Nez Cantor, who is a tough dude, but not the toughest when it comes to being in the post, this doesn't surprise me at all. But Britt Johnson, talk to me, man. Like, this is kind of similar, but it's a little similar to what I was saying about Klay Thompson out there rolling by his damn self. These players. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just because I'm not no Celtics fan, so I don't have no dog in this race. That's what I'm saying. Like, because they're going all in as if they were going against each other, and they're not on the same team. So that's what I'm saying. Do you agree that these two need to be careful?
Yes. Like, I mean, honestly, I did pick the Heat winning this series. So, like, I mean, by all means, I guess if you want to hurt yourself, hurt yourself. But, like,
by all means, right?
I just want to be like the mom, like, you guys stop horsing around by the pool, like, like,
right.
I just wanted to say that. It's just so scary to watch because I'm like, if one of y'all ends up getting hurt, Then next we're gonna hear is all players are banned from being in the pool inside the bubble. Like, let's not do
all
that.
recreation
Let's not
stuff.
everybody else, because Taco is still trying to learn how to swim. Don't mess up Taco learning how to swim, y'all.
That would have been the funniest thing is in the background while us is going on. You see Taco trying to do his little bubble. That would have been the funniest thing. That would have been the greatest video of all time. But yeah, I was waiting for Brad Stevens. Yeah, throw that in the background. No, I was waiting for Brad Stevens to come running from the background with his belt in his hand, ready to stop it. Both of you, cut it out. Get in the car right now. I'm tired of this. I was just waiting for something to happen, but well, it happened. Marcus Smart won, and that is that. So tomorrow is an anniversary for MVP Asia Wilson, but I don't think it's an anniversary that she wants to celebrate, but she is celebrating on her Twitter. And I actually remember this clip when she was back in South Carolina, where a video of Asia where she was on the Stairmaster and she completely eats it, but she falls very gracefully. Went up. This happened 3 years ago, and so she puts her Twitter. She's like, "Damn, it really is fall," because like we talked about today, fall started up, and yeah, she ate it. So tomorrow is her 3-year anniversary of this clip. But man, how far we have come! But look at
is that a treadmill or a Stairmaster? We had this huge debate about this last night when she posted it. Half of the room. Okay, see, I thought it was a Stairmaster. Because I was like, no, the incline is too steep. And then I was told I clearly haven't used a treadmill on an incline, because if I did, I would know. I thought it was a Stairmaster.
Hey, Jackie, I said it just now about damn it. Stairmaster, so you are not alone. Well,
we'll see.
Hey, Chris, what you been doing in your quarantine? Not working out, because I don't know what the damn Stairmaster is compared to the damn treadmill. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, man. I
think it's a treadmill.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, I thought you guys. I thought you said it was okay.
Chris and I thought it was a Stairmaster.
Yeah, and we were wrong.
Yeah,
we were terribly wrong.
So Chris clearly has also not put a treadmill on the incline like that. So me and Chris had no idea. We were like, nah, you can't fall that high off a treadmill. Treadmills are flat.
Nah, only incline is on the hill.
She posted this yesterday. Our producer, like, we have to cover this. And she's like, oh my gosh, one thing I do just as well as a professional athlete is fall.
That is hilarious. Man. That's great.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we are going to go into fall. Shout out to MVP Asia Wilson. Throwback. This next one this is not messy. I did see, obviously like the news sites and everything posting it up, but I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or over the weekend. We had Vanessa Bryant's mom. It was okay. Well, Vanessa Bryant's mom went on Univision, and she had some things to say. She was going in on the fact that, Vanessa took away her home, took away her car, and all kinds of stuff, and she was crying about it and stuff like that. And I was just like, that this is a weird thing for you to be going on television to be saying. Well, today Vanessa responded to it, and she went all in and she let it all out. And I feel bad that she even had to do that, because it's a situation where she's already dealing with enough, and now on top of that, she's having this feud with her mom publicly. It's it's sad to see, but this was her statement that she put up today, or pieces from it. One section said, my husband and daughter passed away unexpectedly, and yet my mom has the audacity to do an interview on TV talking negatively about me while shedding tears about a car and home that wasn't in her name. She then continued to say, my husband and I have financially supported her over the past 20 years, and I continue to do so. In addition to her monthly alimony. Contrary to previous reports, she has not been physically present or emotionally supportive for my daughters and me after my husband and daughter passed away. Going forward, I see what is most important to my mom, and it is beyond hurtful. I hope this public airing of our personal relations will stop here. This is messy. That's not cool. It's messy, and it's just sad to see that this transpired the way that they did, especially in a time like this. Like, it's one thing, to lose your husband, especially the way she did, but she lost her husband and her daughter, and that's your granddaughter on top of it, and you're worried about housing and stuff like that when you're already being it's like she's still taking care. The whole thing to me is just a giant mess, and it's just really, really sad. And I feel for it. It's just like it seems like one thing after another. We also are seeing the reports now that Vanessa is officially going through with suing. Oh my goodness, I already forgot his damn name. LA. Yeah, the whole LA. There you go, Villanueva. Mm-hmm. There it is. I don't know. This whole thing is basically. But Devin, talk to me. Just seeing this and seeing how unfortunate, how sad it was that Vanessa had to go publicly to respond to something that her mom was already publicly talking about. Like, come on, man. Like, don't add that to her 2020. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I did this story this morning, we have a whole separate story on the channel coming up, I think, later today. I was shocked because my mom and I are best friends. I can't imagine either of us doing anything like this to one another, but also I don't care what messiness is going on behind closed doors. I don't care how much drama, how much tension. It is so wildly inappropriate for Vanessa's mom to go to the media and talk negatively about her own daughter when she's already going through one of the most tragic times in her life. To me, this was mind-blowing. And I think in Vanessa's statement, when she said, like, it shows what my mom truly cares about is a house and a car instead of this grief and loss that we're dealing with as a family. Like, it is a true testament to her character. And I was stunned by this. I just couldn't imagine a mother doing this to her own child.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, I completely agree. But like Devin just said, we will be having a video on it, so stay tuned for that later on today. That video will be going up on the channel. We'll talk about that in more detail there. But yeah, it's crazy, just absolutely crazy. And something else that was crazy was after yesterday's game with the Colts, Darius Leonard just doing what normal like athletes do. Normally you see like in basketball, if you wear a headband, you throw the headband in the stands. Football players, they'll give their like customized gloves to fans and stuff like that. Well, Darius Leonard did just that. But you could tell that these damn football. I had a pair back when I used to play a lot more regularly. These things are skin tight. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately for Darius Leonard, it was so skin tight that when he pulled off one of his gloves to give to this young fan, he also pulled off his wedding ring. This young fan's uncle posted this on Twitter saying, "My stepnephew got DS Leon, Darius Leonard's game gloves yesterday. Plot twist. Leonard's wedding ring was accidentally in the glove. Someone help us get his ring back to him. #Colts." So I'm hoping somebody directed this to him. One of the homies like, hey, yo, man, you better respond to this dude before it gets messy. And hopefully it just, it's a simple, like, here's your ring. Thanks, dude. Here's a ticket to another game or something like that. But yeah, man, you got to be careful of those damn gloves, man. Be careful of what you're doing and how you're taking them off. Like I said, those things are like tight, and it's crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Now we got some more mess. And it's funny because, we talked about Raul Neto, and now we talk about somebody else he's been playing well because he's actually getting minutes in the playoffs right now. He's playing against the Lakers right now, but it is another guy that outside of, if you're not watching basketball right now, you probably wouldn't know about. We're talking about PJ Dozier, who is a forward for the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, that's the response I was expecting. So PJ was out here getting... He has a girl out here with his name in her mouth and lying on his name, talking about that he's DMing her and, he's not focusing on basketball. She actually posted this on Twitter of the DM between, or what is supposed to be the DM between her and PJ. She put, PJ Dozier is too focused hitting me up. He should have been hitting up the free throw line in practice. I had to read it like that because there's words and things missing in there. But yeah, so she's claiming, as you see by the message, PJ messaged her, "Can't wait to see you." Oh my goodness, PJ. Oh, wow. Bro, you looking thirsty. Shouldn't you be focusing on basketball? Well, one of PJ's homies got this tweet to him and let him know, like, yo, some girls out here talking recklessly about you, if you can get that up. And PJ responded right underneath our banner. He said, "Nope, that's not it. It's stop the cap." And then on top of that, went to his, LOL, she capped. So on top of that, goes to his public IG story to post the real conversation in the DM. And as you can see, those are messages coming from Violet, because that's what her name is. And it says, "Hey, I see you supporting the team heavy. Maybe we can link up when I'm out the bubble. Can't wait to see you. And you can see that obviously she's trying to send him messages to make it seem like he was writing to her, thinking that she was slick. But the case was she was sending him the messages. Now, I gotta say, this is a unique technique. I've not seen this before because obviously the way she did it to make it look like it was unread, and I don't know, that's unique to me. Now this is new. This is, and for athletes, this should be a little bit scary. I don't know how she got that done. So, Jackie, for my my Petty, I know you and Britt are both Team Petty, but Jackie, I'm coming to you first because this technique is new to me. This is different. She sent the message, but it popped up looking like he sent them. Talk to me. Should players and athletes be scared of this new wave of the thoughtness on IG?
So what she did is she took, because when you send a message to someone on IG,
Right.
it shows the last message you sent. So that's the
Right.
thing that's in your. So she didn't take a picture of the actual thread. She took a picture of
But-
all of her messages. And
But how did
you
she get it to look as if?
because you
Okay,
because
go
you
ahead.
can swipe to the left and click
Okay.
it and make it unread, just like you can do a regular email. Like you can, when you read an email, you can go to the email and say make it
Instagram.
unread. So you
No,
can,
I know what you
can
mean,
swipe it to
yeah.
and then you can make it unread.
Instagram,
you're welcome.
face, Mark Zuckerberg. That is dangerous. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could, because emails, you do the same thing. You put it unread so you can see it later. That is crazy to me. See, that's dangerous, man, because that's an easy way. Even though obviously you're gonna get caught 1,000% of the time. But if PJ didn't have a homie that's letting them know that this happened, that's the thing.
What was her
That's
end
what
game? Like
what are you
she
gonna get
had
from
to
it?
know this was going to get out, and he's
Well,
going
her
to be
end
like,
game was clout.
sorry.
But she
This
still,
is the day
like
of
we
the
talked
clout
about.
chasers.
Exactly.
it
We just
is.
talked about a
It
girl
is.
talking about how she took a whole doo-doo on OBJ's chest, and now it was definitely fake too. So it's just like we got all these people out here spreading these lies, but there's going to be people that are going to believe it. She got 2,000 likes and 1,000 retweets on this message that was clearly fake. So it's like, that's crazy. Instagram. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep.
But wow. Yep. Well, damn. To that, that's the end of the post up.
Sip that tea, Chris. I love it.
Wow. Learn something every day.
All right.
Golly.
Oh my God, that's great.
All right, Jackie, now tell us what we not gonna do.
All right, guys, it's time for what we not gonna do, and I would love to say that in this segment I'm going to, be the bigger person, but I'm not. I'm just gonna keep on beating on these Clippers just a little bit, because the best analogy for what we saw with Clipper Nation came from Complex writer Tig, who wrote, "Only lawn chairs and Kohl's T-shirts have folded harder than the way the Clippers crumbled during the Western Conference semifinals." That actually has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I just love the quote. It was so petty that I just had to include it in this story. But we know the excuses that the Clippers are making regarding this. There was no chemistry. They were exhausted, things of that nature. We've kind of talked about it on this show. And I think we all can expect that, given who this team individually is, we're not buying these excuses. We also know that Trez and Paul George had words on the sideline, apparently because Paul George would not take responsibility for 2 turnovers that happened during the game. And I think we can all relate to that. Like, if you make a mistake, you're supposed to own up to it, especially when your teammates are calling you out on it. You're supposed to own up to it so you guys can move forward. So if he didn't, I totally understand, that tiff between the two of them. But I have to say this, despite that moment in time, I'm going to go with Team Paul George on this one. I don't know if you guys have heard, but apparently after Game 7, Paul George went into the locker room and he was kind of trying to encourage his team, telling his teammates that they needed to remain committed to the team and everyone needed to come back during this offseason and put in the work so they can make another run. I personally think that's exactly what he's supposed to say. That is what a leader would say. It's like, hey, guys, we fell down, but we have to get back up and we have to get back in this fight. We still have another season that we could still do this. And to me, technically, Paul George is the only one who really does have an excuse. He's the one that told us he was suffering from depression and anxiety. He did take accountability for that. He said he checked out because of that. during that time, Britt even talked about how his teammates were like pounding on the walls and stuff like that. Trez reached out to him and was playing video games to him. Doc Rivers said he had a long talk with him. He also went to see the team psychiatrist, so he did put in the work in that aspect. And then after he kind of told us about his anxiety, he opened up about what that meant. He said everybody reached out, whether it was in person, through a text. All of my guys showed up for me. They helped me. They were there when I needed them. I'm indebted to this team, the energy, the synergy, the camaraderie, the brotherhood. I can't thank this squad enough. I love when he said that, because I think that he's showing that without his teammates, this would have been a really hard time for him. He may or may not have gotten through it successfully. He may or may not have gotten back into the game the way that he did. And we all applauded the Clippers then, and I still applaud them now for understanding where he was and showing kindness at that time. Because like we all know, sometimes mental illness, you really need your camp around you to help you get through it. But I would tell the Clippers, keep that same energy. I get that maybe Paul George is not acting the way that you want him to act right now, but you also don't know where he is in his bounce back. Maybe when there's some time that's passed from this situation, he can go, damn, I really messed up. Oh God, I didn't even notice how drastically I missed that pass and turned that ball over. I totally messed up. My head wasn't in it. I'm sorry. Maybe then he could take responsibility. Maybe there's some things going on with him right now that aren't allowing to do that. But that man already said he's indebted to this team. So trying to lift everyone's spirits the way you guys did for him, I think he's trying to pay it back how good you guys were to him when he was suffering in that bubble. So I say let him try to do that and do exactly what he says. Come back in the offseason, confront whatever issues you guys had together. I'm not a Clipper fan at all, but I can recognize when somebody's trying to make amends. So I'm hoping that this gesture from Paul George will be met, because they were rolling their eyes at him in the locker room when he originally said this, let's do this together. And people were like, and I get it. I get that in that moment, maybe that's not what you want to hear because you're frustrated. You're pissed off that you lost to the Nuggets, which none of y'all thought was going to happen. So I understand it, but I just still think you guys need to allow him to try to pay back some of the love and some of the positive energy you guys sent his way. So Britt, my question is for you. Did you have the same knee-jerk reaction as the team did, in that when you heard what Paul George was saying, you were like, okay, well, where was this energy during the game? And how do you feel about what Paul George said now?
I think the Clippers, what I've said about them the whole entire time is they are a deep team. They should be able to get through anything without somebody being down. I said it before with the Paul George situation, just because Paul George isn't playing well, we're supposed to. We've said it all year. We have the deepest team in the league. We have the best bench in the league. So everybody should be able to pick up for other people. So I completely I like how Paul George had the energy. Yes, obviously we needed more energy from him and Kawhi in that fourth quarter, and they didn't bring it. But as a whole team, I expected other guys to pick up after that, because that's what we said our team was about this year. We said we weren't about just having a star that had to lead us to this. We said all the guys on our team were able to take this team to wherever they need to go. So I never blamed anything on Paul George or on Kawhi or on anybody else. It sucks that they didn't score in the fourth quarter, but I also think that we should have been in a position to, other guys should have picked up that spot, because that's what we said we were. That's who we said we were. So I think moving forward, we got to leave what happened there in next season, push forward and see what we're going to do from there. And I'll be talking a little bit about what's going to be happening with next season in Britt's take. So stay tuned.
Yes, we're going to get to that in just 1 second. But yeah, I can't believe this. I'm pulling for you guys to get it together and y'all be cool with Paul George, because I actually really like Paul George. He's easy to like. But now let me get into this next one, because now that the Denver Broncos have lost their 2019 quarterback, their draft pick in Drew Lock, John Elway has decided to go dumpster diving, and he has picked up Blake Bortles. Let that sink in for a second, because that is ridiculous. Yeah. That has rightfully caused social media to go insane, especially since Colin Kaepernick is still out of a job. But you guys should probably predict how I'm going to start this, because I say this all the time. I am from Denver. If you thought there was a snowball chance in hell that John Elway was going to offer a job after that bogus offer he made 4 years ago, I don't know if you guys remember that, but he made that offer to Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was making something like $11.9 million. John Elway only wanted to pay him $4 million. And then when Colin Kaepernick denied it, John Elway was like, well, see, he can't say that we colluded against him because we were going to pay him the $4 million. At that time, when John Elway offered him that contract, he was a new free agent. It was just at the beginning of his free agency, and there were a lot of needs in the league at that time. So yeah, I'm sure hindsight is 2020. Maybe if he knew then what he knew now, he would have taken that bogus deal, similar to what Cam Newton did, just to get back. But I don't think he thought that racism was going to be so profound that it was going to keep him out of a job, because I think he knew who he was as a quarterback, and I think he knew what needs were still in the league. But all that being said, 4 years later, I don't really understand why everyone is so upset that the league, specifically the Broncos, are not signing Cap. That's so surprising to me, because we've gone over these reasons so many times with you guys. Colin Kaepernick, has he said he wants to play? I've not heard him verbally say he wants to play. In fact, after his workout last November, he said this. He said, quote, we're waiting for 32 owners, 32 teams, Roger Goodell, all of them to stop running from the truth, stop running from the people. We're out here ready to play. We're ready to go anywhere. My agent, Jeff Nally, is ready to talk to any team. I'll interview with any team at any time. I'm ready. I'm staying ready, and I'll continue to be ready. You guys got to know by now how much I love Colin Kaepernick. I love him to my core. I love how he moved the workout. I loved how he knew that workout was going to be bogus. There was going to be little to no media presence there, so he moved it so the media could be there. But then he didn't take advantage of the media when they were there, and this was his only statement. And I hate this statement, because I'm like, who the hell is we? What are we ready for? I'm sure that he meant we as in him and his agent, but his agent isn't out of a job. So there's no we. It should be I. I am ready for a job. I want to play. I'm ready to entertain offers. But that he didn't even say the word play in there. He just said, I'm ready. We're ready. We're ready to play. No, you're already playing this game. You need to say, I'm ready to play football. I'm ready to get back on the field. I'm ready to go. You have to be very specific. We've talked about that on the show as well. You have to be very specific in what you say, especially against the organization that you have said is colluded against you. And not only has he not said it, you can go to his Twitter right now and there's nothing there. He's just retweeted that Eric Reed doesn't have a job. He's retweeting about social justice, but he hasn't said anything about playing football. I would say go be petty. Go to your Twitter right now and say, hey, John Elway, I know we didn't get that contract right last time, but let's get your organization back to where it needs to be. Hit up my agent. I would say that right now, because the reason why we know AB and Des Bryant won a job is because they tell us all the time. Colin Kaepernick does not tell us. And I love Cap, but if he's not going to tell us, I don't know if I can get mad at any team that doesn't take a 32-year-old quarterback who hasn't been in the league for 4 years. I'm past that. I can't get mad at that anymore. Now, granted, I think a 42-year-old Cap who hadn't been in the league for 14 years is better than Blake Bortles, but that's not the point. The point is it's a little late in the game, but nonetheless, I get why you guys are mad. And let me tell you, they dragged John Elway to the heavens and back. So this first user said, we are adding this crap QB while Kaepernick is still out there. I know Trump has you in his back pocket, John Elway, but come on, dude. Blake Bortles, shaking my head. John, shaking my head at the Broncos. Yep, I have no argument for that. This next one is definitely my favorite, though. It says, if you believe Blake Bortles deserves a contract before Colin Kaepernick due to ability alone, please come see me for individual sessions. I'm a licensed substance abuse counselor. Facts. This one is really my favorite, because I think it speaks to more to what John Elway has done with that organization. He says, I will say this, regardless of, he says, why would you bring in a bum like Blake Bortles? Go get Cap 7 now. I love John Elway, but if he continues to fail at the most important position, he needs to be fired. I totally agree with that, because if you take Peyton Manning out of the situation, what success has John Elway had at that position? None. He makes the worst decisions at that position. So whether he hires Cap or not, Blake Bortles is literally dumpster diving for quarterbacks. It is shameful. So I'm going to come to you, Chris. Are you with me in that this conversation about Cap needs a job needs to be overlooked, but at the same time, this Blake Bortles signing is horrible? Or do you think that maybe Colin Kaepernick really deserves a shot in Denver?
I'm still one of those guys that still would like to see Cap play, but no, you started off this perfectly. It is Denver, so I'm not surprised that he was not, going after Cap in this position. But I am also not surprised that he did pick Blake Bortles, because for a dude that was one of the better quarterbacks in the history of this sport, he is not good at seeing the talent in other quarterbacks. And it's just crazy because there are other talented quarterbacks that are in free agency. He can trade for some backups. There's so many things that could happen that he could do, and he has the assets to do. He can make a trade for, one of these rookies from, that aren't going to play anytime soon, like the Jordan Loves or the my boy Jalen Hurts. There's so many things he could have done, but he said, no, Blake Bortles, it's time to revive your career. So, I agree with that last dude on Twitter. I understand the name is great, but he has continued to suck at filling in one of the more, if not the most important position for that team. And Blake Bortles is not going to get the job done. I'll stand here and say that right now.
Yeah, I'm pro team. I'm thinking they'll go what? I don't know what their record will be. It'll be like what, 4-12. That's what I'm predicting.
I was going to say 12 and what? 12 and who?
4-12. I had it backwards. But that's all I got. And now it is time for Britt's takes.
Britt's takes.
So really quick though, I did want to say to your guys' point, I believe John Elway has that big of an ego that he doesn't want anybody to ever play in Denver that's better than him.
That's the only thing that makes sense. But doesn't your job depend on wins though? Isn't that part of your job?
It doesn't.
Apparently not.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Oh, God.
I talked about the pushback of the 2020 NBA draft, which is now going to be on Wednesday, November 18th, instead of being immediately following the NBA Finals, which was supposed to be second week of October. It got a month, so of course I said we are definitely getting a big pushback for the NBA season. They still were saying, it might be second week of December instead of first week, but I was like, no. If you're pushing back that draft a whole entire month, training camp cannot begin until after draft. So November 18th, and you want a second week to start the regular season. So that includes training camp and preseason. I was like, it's not going to happen. And basically Silver just confirmed I am correct yet again. So Adam Silver was on CNN this morning, and he just announced that the 2020 to 2021 NBA season will actually not begin in 2020 at all. He said he ideally wanted to at least try to tip off by Christmas, but he now says that his best guess is not going to happen until at least January, but more than likely it could start in February. Yes, guys, next season is not going to start in 2020 at all. He also said that the goal is still to make sure that they keep an 82-game season, and that all these 82 games are going to be played in arenas. He said he doesn't see that there's going to be a bubble moving forward, especially how effective it has been with the NFL and the NFL players, not really testing in large amounts of COVID. I think this last week, it was like 3 players that have tested positive, but they said because the NFL has been doing such a great job with it and stuff, he doesn't see the need for it to be a crucial thing to be in a bubble anymore. He said it's more than likely going to be in arenas, an 82-game season, so a full season. What does that mean moving forward? Well, it means that now the NBA could very likely forever and ever now have a season that begins in either January or February. Because if you have now this next season, an 82-game season, so if you do a full entire season, what break are they going to have before the next season starts then? So at some point, the players have to have their off season, and they have to go through the draft again, and they have to go through training camp again, and then the next preseason. So if you have a full season, like I would have assumed if he would have done like a half season, or just like when the NBA lockout happened, when they didn't start season till late in December or January, like that moment was then now, okay, we're just doing a shorter season, which is what they've done in the past. But for them, I don't know who's eating or something, but I can hear you. But oh gosh, okay. But the full season, we're gonna concentrate. But the full season or whatever, that's just gonna push back everything else moving forward. So what does this mean now for Jackie's favorite word, the totality of the situation? This means that the NBA will now be competing season for season, game for game, day for day with baseball. Obviously, NBA is going to win the majority of those that viewership, but they will basically mimic the same type of season in the same season that baseball has, which we all know October baseball is when all the playoffs and everything happen. It's the greatest month of baseball, whatever. We'll also be having the NBA finals there. If this model continues to move forward, which it's looking like, if Adam Silver says the 82 game season, if we're not starting, we're going to have a season again next year where playoffs will be in October. What does this mean for football? Well, this means football basically just saved by COVID-19, you guys, because we know viewership for NFL has gone down a lot over the last few years. And now, without any competition from anybody else, because hockey doesn't usually start till later on too. And hockey has like a season that kind of mimics the same as basketball season. It's a little bit shorter, but it basically kind of has the same as basketball season, meaning that the NFL never has anybody that's like super overlapping, because the early people don't really care about, so they would rather watch football than any other sport at that time. But now with those games being pushed back, because NHL is in a bubble too, so what is going to happen with their season and whatever moving forward, all of this, that, and the third. So many of these, and because the NFL continued to start on time and didn't have to change their season, all of these other teams now have new seasons that could possibly be permanently changed to these January starts or February starts that, guess what, only happens October to now January. Football, that's it. So football literally is going to gain so much viewership back, because guess what? There's not going to be anything else for us to watch. I remember at the beginning of COVID when baseball came back first, everybody was watching baseball, because guess what? There's no other sports on. Baseball doesn't really have, like, especially early on in the season, people aren't really watching baseball like that, but people were watching some baseball. People that I knew were being like, oh, the Dodgers are off to a good start. I'm just like, since when did you like baseball? You know, like there were so many people I knew that never watched a baseball game in their life, and they were all about baseball right now. That's what football's going to be like now moving forward. If, like I said, according to what Adam Silver says, if this actually ends up going to fruition and all this stuff happens, we're going to have an NFL season that is a solo NFL season without any competition from anybody. So we are going to get more views back. This is literally gold for the NFL. The fact that Adam Silver said that their season is going to get pushed back and then possibly stay that way if they want to do that 82 game, it's the craziest thing I'm ever going to see. I think it's like, I don't know who the heavens came down and shined on the NFL. I don't know why, but they did, because this is like saving the NFL. COVID-19, you guys, just saved the NFL. I don't have any questions for you guys. We're overtime already. So yeah, just a crazy thought for you guys. We might have a new NBA and a new NHL season that is now going to be totally different than we've ever been used to. I know all of us are probably sad that we're not going to see Christmas Day basketball, which is everybody's favorite thing to watch. It's usually the Clippers, Lakers, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I guess we're looking at January, according to Adam Silver, what he said this morning on CNN.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Wow.
Kind of sad.
It is kind of sad. It's a good trade-off, though. I'm cool with the trade-off, but it is sad.
What are you talking about?
Messes up my holiday season.
Hey, but maybe football steps up. Maybe football takes to Christmas. Who knows? Because it's going to be them.
Football is Thanksgiving. No, I already have my holidays passed out. Football is Thanksgiving, basketball Christmas.
The NFL did do that. This year, the NFL did put a game on Christmas Day. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
tradition.
But it's open now.
It's new traditions, Jackie.
Good.
All right, you guys.
All day on Christmas Day, Thanksgiving.
Yes,
all day
tradition.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well,
And then
let's
Dave
wrap
Who
up the
knows?
show.
Britt,
All
waiting
right,
for
you
my
guys, let's
hand
wrap up the
sanitizer.
show now. Make sure you subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Wear a mask, wash your hands, have some
Chris,
tacos today.
Don't be
And we'll see you guys
anti-hand sanitizer. Get the hand sanitizer, Chris.
I'm using soap and water thanks to Zay Jones. No more hand sanitizer.
This is our tradition. This is ours.
Come on.
You're right. All right.
There we go.
All right,
There we go.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Enjoy Taco Tuesday.